Business Exchange. I got a very special guest with us today. Man, please, y'all, welcome in Kiki, CEO of Switch Internet. Hello.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Toby.
Thank you for joining us, man. Like, I want to kind of tell people how we connected. Kiki was one of the sponsors of our event 2 weeks ago. Switch Dating App with Brooklyn Frost, the cover event, and like she's doing amazing work in the tech space and just as an entrepreneur. So we got to sit you down on the business stand and hear about it. So let's get right into it.
I'm ready.
Why did you start your own dating app?
All right. So I'm gonna try to fast forward this story. So when I graduated from Kennesaw State University, I'm born and raised here in Georgia. I did track and field at Kennesaw, did my bachelor's and my master's there, right? So once I graduated, I moved all the way to Bristol, Connecticut. And I started.
Were you working for ESPN? What you doing out there?
I was working for ESPN.
Wow! I was just joking. Look at me.
Yeah, so I started my career at ESPN right out of college, and so I was like, let me just download some dating apps, like because I got hired with a cohort of people, and so this is in 2020. I mean, I wasn't striving for sports journalism. It just kind of pretty much my goals were the only reason I went for my master's, I wanted to study abroad, which I did. I chose a program that made you. And then I wanted to set myself up career-wise to like make sure I have a job right out of college. And also I kind of fell in love with producing at that time. And so I went to this convention like my last semester before graduating. And it was called NABJ.
NABJ. You was at NABJ? What
year?
What city was you
That was fall 2018.
So was that New Orleans?
No, fall 2019. Wait. Fall 2018.
What city was it? Do you remember?
No, it was in Miami.
I was there. The one that was what's that suburb of Miami that's not Miami, but it's Coral Gables or Coral.
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. I was there too. Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't cross paths, but I was definitely there too. I remember NABJ 2019 Miami.
Yeah, so I found out about the opportunity through a professor, and I just went and I just networked really well. And it was funny because I went to the ESPN booth I'd already talked to someone and the guy was just like, he was just kind of very dry. And so then it was like the next day, they how they set up like job interviews or whatever there.
Put your name in the portal. They're going to send you a link to sign up.
Yeah, with all the different like stations and stuff like that, right? So, like the next day I happened to just like be standing near the ESPN booth and these two men that work at ESPN were like standing in between, like they have like the videos and stuff playing. So I was looking at that and they thought I was staring at them. And so they both like stopped their conversation and like turned their head and they're like, oh, you want to come? I was like, no, for some reason I didn't stop them because I was like, I don't know. I just didn't stop them. So I ended up talking to this other lady and we hit it off about Disney. And that was what my dissertation was on. I was actually doing a research project to see like how millennial athletes, if they resonate with Disney princess characters at the time. So we're talking
that is a fire creative dissertation. I ain't gonna lie, that's fire.
So I was doing a documentary of these athletes that I played sports with in different sports, and I was making sure it was a very diverse group of women. And I was telling her about it, and we were hitting off about Disney. We didn't even talk about ESPN. So when I go back to Georgia, I go through my list of people and I'm following up, and she was like, "Hey, you need to go apply to ESPNX." And I applied, and I swear, like 3 days later, I get a call from her, and she was like, "Come out to ESPN." They were flying in groups of like 13 people, and for job interviews.
Where was I? I was at NABJ. I couldn't see none of this, man. Damn.
That's by the grace of God, of course. And so I was the only girl selected in my group.
Wow.
And I got the job offer. Now the money was not good. It didn't make any sense to accept it, but it was not good at all. I really want to.
That's true though. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, but I took the offer. I moved. So I started that job in January 13, 2020, and so during the pandemic, and that's when sports shut down. And so I was kind of back and forth between Georgia at the time. I wasn't really supposed to be doing that, but I did. And anyways, I downloaded a bunch of dating apps. And I found the consistent issues of, I had like Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge at the time. And my consistent issues, I was swiping, I was getting a lot of matches. I found myself always being the first one to send out the message for the most part. And then when I would send out the message, they would never reply. And then on top of that, if they replied and we got into a back and forth, it was very hard to get off the app, get
to real conversations.
Yes, like on the on
the
the phone or just in like our normal text messages on our phone. And it was the redundant issue consistently across all the platforms. So eventually I just stopped, and then I went and then I just wasn't on them for like the next 2 to 3 months. But then I had a coworker who invited me onto Clubhouse super early. And so this is when like Clubhouse, you know what I'm saying? So
all about Clubhouse.
Exactly. Wow. See, don't follow their business model. Clubhouse at the time was popping during the pandemic because people were home, they were looking for connections, they were craving that. You know, we were social distancing or whatever. And so we were at a function, and she was in the corner by herself talking to all these people. And I'm like, girl, like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I'm going to send you one of my exclusive invites. At the time, that's when it was invite only. To be on Clubhouse. And so she invited me, and I found myself, mind you, I don't break my stick for anyone. I was up in chat rooms 2 to 3, 4 in the morning talking to people from across the world. And even in hindsight, when I left ESPN, someone I networked with there, I ended up getting a job from someone I networked with on Clubhouse. So at that time, I was like, yo, I love Clubhouse. Like, I'm networking. I got a bunch of followers out of it, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yo, my dating experience online would be so much better if I could just talk to them before I make the decision to match with them. And I feel like you could just build a better connection, have better discernment, or more discernment rather.
You know the person a little better.
Yeah, you're talking to them, and you know, I don't think people realize how attracted you are to actual voice tones. So that's a component too. Because when you think about it, like, that's why for babies, for example, when you talk about Miss Rachel, why is Miss Rachel so popular? She even talks about how she changes her tone and her dialect because that's what makes kids engage. Wow. That starts from when we're a baby all the way into, it never ends. You don't realize how much attracted you are to someone's voice until you probably hear someone's voice that you hate. You're like, please be quiet. But you know, it's the same thing of like people's laugh. Like, you know, that one person, like that unique laugh. I know I
hate this person's laugh, or I love this person's laugh. Yes, it's very distinct.
It's very distinct, and so it's very important in the way that we connect on on a human level too. So either way, that's how I was like, people need to have one-on-one conversations. It doesn't need to have video because people are weird, and it just needs to. You just have to kind of mediate that as best as possible. But really, let's just start with the conversation. Then on the back end, let's put the superficial, like, for example, men don't take good pictures in general. They don't take them as consistently as women. It's very occasional for them when they do take pictures, or they just don't like taking pictures. And so I feel like a lot of times on dating apps, men don't have the chance to
prove themselves that they have a good personality.
Like, I'm a great catch. I'm a great guy, because there's a picture on there from 2008. When you're in high school and you look nothing crazy, like that, right? Nuts. And so I think with Switch, like, it just stands out better because, you know, it does give you that opportunity. It's almost like you can go approach someone at a bar, and it's the same opportunity. You see someone you're attracted to, okay, you're gonna. It's the intro. It's the same thing with Switch. You see someone based off of just one photo. You see someone, okay, I'm gonna send a one-on-one request to talk to them. They accept. We're in a conversation. So it's that same opportunity.
So pretty much they'll see your 2 pictures, and then they get to ask about.
So the functionality we have right now. So there's 2 different like main functionalities, right? The one that we have out right now that we just released on Valentine's Day 2025. Yeah. So we're like 2 months in now. It's the one-on-one request. Yeah. So that's where you get the 2 pictures and the switch note, which they're able to record up to like a 30-second recording. Yeah. And then
the switch note's like a question. Like you.
Yes. Technically, you can choose to select a prompt to lead you in to record it, or you can just freestyle it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we have like some people being very creative where they got background music playing. It's kind of giving like MySpace vibes.
Yeah, that's fire though. Yeah. I gotta put my drink on and talk my joke out here.
Or they'll say like a very funny, like whatever, it's a joke or whatever. So it really allows you to like show your personality. And so that's it. Based on those 2 photos in the switch note, that's where you can decide if you would like to like. Well, not match, just like. No, you know, pretty much like or match, but that's when you can decide to like or send a one-on-one request. Once you send that request, also you can personalize a request. So like you could be like, you record and say, hey, I love what you talked about LeBron James. I'm a big LeBron James fan. Like, it kind of incentivizes that person on the receiving end of that request to accept it because it's like, oh, I personalized this for you. They'll know that. But either way, once they accept, you guys hop into a 3 to 6 minute speed date. But right before the speed date starts, there's an icebreaker question screen. So they're always different yes, no style questions. So because you imagine like speed dating in real life, right? It's like you don't want to have to keep it like rotating. Be like, hey, my name is Kiki. I'm 29. I'm from Atlanta. Like it also gives you a way to just immediately start the conversation authentically and like not have to get into that.
The conversation starts with a name, place, introduction.
Exactly. You guys might just be talking about something topic based. So we kind of like not necessarily manipulate that, but help with that. And then once both of you guys have answered that yes, no, like you selected a button, then the speed date starts. It opens up the speed date. You guys is only audio. You just see like a profile, Abby, and their name. Yeah. And then there's conversation drivers. So that's where you can just still talk, or you guys can engage in different categories at the bottom. And so you can scroll. It could be music, intimacy, lifestyle, food. And you select one of those categories, scroll through one of the questions, select it so it can be placed on the screen. Both of you guys can see it, and you guys can converse about that. Yeah,
that's really what I loved about Switch when you first told me. Just like, I don't think I'm the most photogenic, but I know I'm cool as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm great, you know, but I'm just not the most photogenic, and I don't change my pictures. I don't take a lot of pictures, so I definitely could see where I need the opportunity to kind of talk. I'd love to. For you to get my real personality. So I love how you're doing that. I guess my next question will be, what are some of the difficulties of launching that?
Oh, okay. Money. I mean, just capital. Just being not only a Black woman founder, but into the tech space is just completely, I don't know. I think it's completely different than trying to launch merchandise, and not any shade to anyone that does like merchandise or products.
Sure, it's an app, so I'm sure it's a lot more expensive.
It's very expensive because this is the thing. You have to figure out a way to prove viability in the market with the product that costs money that you have to build out. So we started, me and my co-founder, Corey Staples, and I'll tell a little bit of backstory about like how we met and things like that, and like why we started it. But basically, we started February 2021. Like it was like a week or maybe two weeks later after I had the idea. February 2021. By May 2021, we had the prototype. So it cost like $10,000, over 10 grand. So at the time, no, I didn't have $10,000. I didn't have savings like that. I had credit cards, but what we did, both of us had good credit at the time. Oh, well, I said at the time. She probably still has great credit. Mine is shot. So
I appreciate the honesty. That's true.
Yeah, like during this, didn't know we'd get here. But pretty much at that time, we had great credit. Then we were just like, okay, we're gonna apply for a business credit card. And so we got our first credit card with Chase. It was like they gave us $2,500, but we used that to pay lawyers. That was it, right? But then, we didn't find out we needed the $10,000 until we talked to the dev firm and we were doing research, and they were like, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to make the MVP. We're like, okay, let's go to Navy Federal, see what they're talking about. They gave us a $15,000 credit limit. Yes, surprisingly. We don't know why they did.
Navy Federal give them loans away. Don't play.
Yeah, go to Navy Federal.
Give them loans.
Try not to default on them, but yeah. But yes. So by the grace of God, like I said, we got 15,000, and no reason. Like it's just like I said. I think it's just divine and God. And so we got the 15,000. We ran it up. We just put it on the credit card. Yes. And by May 2021, the prototype was ready, and then from that point on, that whole summer going into 2022, we had to get operating agreements, get that business back end in order, and pay lawyers and things like that. And then we went to the start of 2022, just using my network, her network, just trying to figure out like how can we actually launch this and raise some funding. And so we use our prototype to raise funding, so to paint the picture and the idea. But like I think that's the hardest thing.
So pretty much so once you paid them out and got the prototype, you were pitching that to like seed investors or?
I mean, we didn't know what we were doing, right? So, so at the time, our first angel investor, he actually has an app. You probably actually know of him. I don't know if I should say his name or not, but he has an app, and I was doing research. Like, I know someone that knows someone that knows him. Like, it's easy to get in touch with him. Because also at the same time, me and my co-founder, I was in Connecticut. She was in Florida. Wow. So both of us, we didn't both move back into Georgia until like I moved back in August 2021. She moved back in like July.
Is that the person in San Diego?
Yes, Corey. Yeah, she's in San Diego. So yeah, my co-founder.
Shout out Corey.
Shout out Corey. So we weren't even in Atlanta at the time. So when we moved back to Atlanta, that's when I was just like hustling, looking up places, see who built his app. Then that's when I set a call with them. We're like, okay, let's just see how much it's going to cost, right? We're price shopping. They hear the idea and they're like, we don't even mention this man's name. And they were like, we would love to introduce you to him. Like, he's a Black founder. Like, and this is a great idea. We want to be a part of it. And long story short, maybe like 3 weeks later to a month later, we got that first meeting with him. We sat in his office. We were mainly talking to him about how he was raising funding because he was mainly doing on crowdfunding on Start Engine. And we were just trying to learn from him. And then 2 weeks later, after that in-person meeting, he was like, hey, I want to invest in your business. We didn't even pitch him to be an investor. That was not why we were approaching him. And so that's kind of how things just like naturally have parlayed for us as far as how we raise funding. And then since then, we raised $72,000 in a month from families and friends on WeFunder, which is another crowdfunding.
Supporting friends.
It was, you know what, and I think that's the biggest like part is like I wouldn't be able to do it if my friend asked me for $1,500. We demanded a $1,500 minimum. We were pitching every single day based on our friends' availability and our family's availability. We're like, this is what it is. We had to teach them about what is a convertible note structure, what is a safe. We had to learn ourselves so we could be able to tell them like, hey, long term, the valuation of the company is going to grow. You're getting in early. You're getting on the ground floor. And so, I mean, and the beauty of it is like, yes, they supported us, but at the same time, they're tied into it. And so like, we build this to what we know this can be. They're going to eat.
They're going to be happy.
Yeah. So I'm super like happy about the support. And then we've won pitch competitions. We had that parlayed into another angel investor who is Brent Fayez's manager. His name is Ty Basin. Because we won a grant called Show You Off grant. So
you were the last. I was
not the last one, okay. But
I heard of it. It's him and his mom's foundation.
Yeah. Yes. So that's when he released the Show You Off song, and then he released that program with it. And so we, it was funny because we won this pitch competition, and then like maybe months after that, going into 2023. One of the girls that we competed against, I stayed in touch with her, and she would always hit me up when she came to Atlanta. We met for lunch. She hit me on Instagram. She's like, "Hey, I won this grant last year. Like apply for it." We applied. We got it. We got the 10,000. That parlayed, and around that time, this is around 2023. So the app we were testing it with our family and friends. We hadn't released it yet. So someone from their team, Show You Off's team, that works for that grant, came on to like one of our exclusive, like just testing it. So we would have people on Zooms and just be testing the app and be like, okay, if it didn't work, shake your phone or do whatever, right? And so she was on it, and I randomly got into a speed date with her. So that's the feature I haven't even talked about, the 101 roulette. That's where it's like Love is Blind, and the picture will be blurred and it unblurs the more you talk. So that's the one that we're going to release for like influencers and things like that. But anyways, we got connected with her, and I got connected with her on testing a speed date. She was like, I'm from the Show You Off grant. Brent Fayez's manager, he's right here. He's super interested. Maybe a couple weeks later, we set a call with him because I was part of the program. You can get calls with like different people in the organization, and we talked to him for about an hour. He talked about like how back in the day in 2014, how he wanted to start a dating app, but he didn't really know. And then he's on West Coast time. So after that, like it was like 8 hours later, he messages. It was like in the middle of the night. I remember I was at Rocksteady actually eating. He messages us and he said, I want to invest $100K in the business. Like, so that's how angel investors have come to us. It's not like I'm like on Excel sheets, just like doing stuff. It's just like divine intervention, doing stuff like that.
That's what happens when you're walking in your purpose. You're doing what you need to do. The right people, God is always going to send the right angels to cook for you. Make sure things happen for you. So that's lovely.
Thank you.
But what I like about Switch puts voice in conversation before looks. Mm-hmm. How has that shifted the way people connect on the app?
Well, we're still testing that out. So, I feel like, people, I think they don't realize what Switch is. They're interested in it because it is different. They like the conversation first aspect. But I don't think they really understand what it is until they experience it. Because there will be people we will, obviously me and my co-founder are on the app, and we're like sending out one-on-one requests and stuff so we can make sure people are getting the experience. So it's funny because we'll get in a speed date and they're like, oh my gosh, you're talking to me? Like, this is live? Like, we didn't know. Like, so I don't think people realize this is a live conversation. Like, you're not just sending voice notes back and forth. It's not like asynchronous. It's very just like immediate right now. And like you're on the phone. We're bringing it back to how we used to chat back in the day. So I think people do enjoy that. I don't know. We haven't really had any testimonies. We have more testimonies from our in-person events versus our digital side for right now.
You know, those are coming.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked how you say you're trying to take dating back to how it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dating is kind of weird nowadays, if you ask me, especially in Atlanta. What do you hate most about the dating scene?
In Atlanta? Well, let's see. I would say, I don't know, because it's a little bit different for me. I'm gay. So like dating women is a little bit different, right? So that has its own complexities. But what I would say, from being a witness to the dating scene and throwing dating events, especially for men and women. And we're about to have our first like official Pride events for lesbian and queer plus and gay men and queer plus in this Pride. But I would say just witnessing it and trying to facilitate an environment where people can connect and date. I would say in Atlanta, obviously, especially for the Black and people of color, women of color community, right? Or just people of color community. I would just say it's women outnumber the men here. Substantially.
I agree.
Consistently and substantially. We've hosted 3 events, and every event, I want to slit my wrist. And it's so sad though, because and this is the reason why we continue to do it, is because I'll get hundreds of women. Like I'm talking. So for Valentine's Day, our last event, we had over 200 women. I can only hold 45 women and 45 men, right? I had to deny over 160 women. And it's so sad because women will be day one getting their ticket, but it doesn't matter because I have to go based on not only what you put and what your preferences are and what your age is. I just got to go based on whatever men I get. And I only got 44 men, right? Out of 200. So the event before that, October 2nd, I think we had the same issue. It was like 100 something women. We only got the last week of sales. We got exactly 40 something men. Right. So this event, what we're about to do right now, I'm going to be very brutally honest, because women, they kind of take it to heart because we have to decline them. And so I've learned with our messaging, it's not personal. Like, I don't think you understand metrically what you're up against as a straight woman and as a straight Black woman. Men don't want to go to dating events. They have hesitations. Now, I'm not just saying this by being opinionated about it. No, I literally go up and ask men, what are your hesitations? They feel like they're going to get rejected. For some reason, with this popping the balloon culture, that ties into what we're doing, right? So they assume it's something like that.
They'll be embarrassed or something like that when they get there.
Yeah, that is something along those lines, which is not. They think it's a cry for help. They think it's so taboo that it's like, oh, I don't need that. Like, I don't need help.
I don't need help to go dating, to find a partner.
Find a woman, right? Yeah. Okay, well, why are you single?
She cooking.
No, but for real, because really, when it comes to women, especially Black women or just the Black community, women, it's probably 20 women to one man, maybe a little bit less than that. But I'm seeing that metrically. Right now, we have 120 something women pending. I've already approved 15 women, and I only have 14 men total. I want to cry.
Hey, we gonna need these men to come turn up, man.
Yeah, but I think just like, and I think it's sad too, because we were talking off camera just about like generational wealth and things like that. And I think there is another, I wouldn't say competing, there is another brand in Atlanta that does speed dating events. Okay. And I wouldn't say it's for the white community, but it's mainly the white community, right?
I feel like white people pull up to stuff more like that, more than like Black people would.
Exactly.
Because white people don't have that fear. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't think like white people think they're going to go somewhere and get embarrassed.
Absolutely. They don't, bro, that sounds great.
That sounds fun. Like, I get to play pop the balloon. Right. Yeah, buddy, let's do it.
Girls there? Absolutely, bro.
There's going to be some beers, bro?
Yeah. It's just that simple. And so, but for the Black community, and I'm not trying to call it the Black men, but I have to call it the Black men.
I speak your truth.
You guys do not show up. I'm sorry. You guys do too much thinking. And you do too much of everything else, but just showing up. And I think
yes, we overthink. Sad. I agree. I can co-sign that.
These are the same men that are on these podcasts that are blaming women or how women should show up. Women show up every time. They show up. You guys are not showing up, and it's proven by hosting these events. I'm telling a man like, "Hey, you're single. You're available. Why don't you come?" Like, oh no, like they are too cool for it.
Too cool for school. Yes.
It's not about that. They're like, I'm not really trying to get married right now. It's not about that. You never know. You might meet your wife. Maybe you might meet your future business partner. You might see another homeboy that you never met that you can network with that will help you excel in your career. It's not even about that.
Or you might just meet your next one night stand. Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Women want it just as much as you do. So this is the thing. I feel like just put yourselves out there. Like it doesn't matter. Just try. And especially the way that we facilitate our events, it's not like as soon as you check in, you're getting thrown into a speed date rotation. It's a vibe. You got music. We're serving you. You're not going to even be waiting at a line at the bar. Wow. As soon as we have such a process with the Rock Steady team. As soon as you check in, your name badge is already pre-filled out. All you got to do is we'll give you a handheld menu. On one side, it's going to have appetizers for you to select from. Yes, the other side drinks. You select it, turn it in to the switch staff that is already waiting for you. Sit down. We'll come and find you.
We're going to bring it into you. So let's. I didn't mean to cut you off. My apologies. So let's talk a little bit about the spring soiree. Yes. April 30th, next Wednesday, exactly a week at Rock Steady. Tell us about it. Why should these men? She needs 20 men. She's telling me.
This? Are you gonna cut this and push this in? Okay. That'll give us some time.
Yeah. No. But why should these men come and pull up for this event?
Why? I mean, there's a long list of women that are waiting.
Long list. She said over 120 girls are already waiting. That should have guys lining up the door, honestly.
Exactly.
If you ask me.
For some reason they just don't come. But and also statistically, men just wait last minute to get their tickets too, unfortunately, and you can't do that with a speed dating event. But why you should come? So this is going to be the last one. I'm not doing this over the summer. We're not competing with all of the Freaknik parties in Atlanta, right? We're going to bring this around back in cuffing season, okay?
I like it when it gets cold outside.
Yeah, and I think we're probably going to, because this is the thing too, we have the older community, like 45 and plus, wanting us to throw an event for them as well. Wow. And I don't even know how
they need love too.
So yes, they need love too, but like, I think this is going to be the last one until around fall, getting into that winter months. We're definitely going to have another one during Valentine's Day. The only way we'll have any, like maybe summer is if we're partnering with some of these like organization that can bring them in for us, because like this is just too hard. It's very stressful. Yeah.
So one thing I also do like about you is a lot of your marketing is interview wise. You get a lot of influencer marketing. You do a lot of interviews. What made you think about to do it that way?
Well, okay, so this is so funny. We needed to grow our social media. I think back in like September, October 2024, so not too long ago, we literally only had like 500 followers. I think we have 3,400 followers now. We jumped, and we needed to make a change to get people out there. And I think we had that opportunity. We got to a program that invested us called Techstars over the summer of 2024. So that week did a completely rebrand, a complete shift. We got a brand new app, brand new team. And so I think at first we used to be super afraid of putting ourselves out there in front of the brand, because I think also when you're a Black woman owned company, we didn't want that inevitable glass ceiling of people assuming that we're only a Black app.
Yeah, we're only rocking with Black people.
Yeah, and no, love my people. That's what we're doing here in Atlanta, because I live here. But I mean, but at the same time, it's, we want to be as big as Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. This is for everyone, and this is it's multi-generational, it's multi-demographic. Like older people are on our app. They're in their 40s. We have like 50-year-old people on our app. Like we have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds on our app trying out. So I think what was the question?
I'm appealing to all demographics. The reason why you wanted to use interviews as your
interviews. I just feel like we had to make that shift and that change, and it just started working. We needed to get on the community. We need that more brand awareness in Atlanta, and somehow that just kind of like when I started doing it, it just kind of stuck, and it was like, okay, we might as well keep doing it. So it works. We're always looking for different ways to like evolve and communicate. communicate and get our branding out there without it sounding gimmicky and commercially. So I think that's another way that we're able to just do that, or like that organic content, because
looking corny.
Yeah, and honestly, it has directly correlated to our downloads. Like, for example, even these events as well, like the marketing for the events and just doing those street interviews, we got 1,100 downloads in our first month.
Okay.
So comparatively, when we did launch in 2023, we had like maybe 400 users the entire year. Like, so we
progress,
so we learned too for when we did in the past of like, we didn't really have that much social media. It wasn't organic. It looked very corporate. And now this is like more, I feel like it's more aligns with how our app would be.
Would operate in real time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. So based on your prior events, like the Valentine's Day event, what have you learned about how people communicate in real time, especially during those first, maybe awkward introductory moments of a speed date?
Okay, so I will say from our feedbacks and our like reviews that we get, well, the way that we curate the experience is, you come in, you check in, you never have to stand in line at the bar unless you're getting an extra drink. But for the most part, like all of our staff is there to attend to you. Like,
make sure it's a smooth process for you.
Yeah, and we tell them like, hey, like raise your hand, we'll have someone come out to you. Like they know that. But I think when our speed dating events start out as like a mixer, there's music, there's vibes, and so we're not throwing you into a speed date. So
you kind of know the person before you even step into it.
Well, you're talking to anyone. You don't know who's going to be in your rotation until we tell you, okay, look at the number in your badge. Women sit on sofa side. You're not rotating. Men, you sit across from the woman, starting at the number that's on your badge. And that's how they know where to start.
Okay.
And so, so for that first almost 2 hours of the event, you're really just mingling. You're approaching who you want to approach.
Talk to who you want to talk to.
Exactly.
So you might even bag someone you're not in a speeding date with beforehand.
Exactly. So you're getting some more options in there. And then we strategically make sure, because it is curated, like at least your first 5 to 7 people are going to be within your preferences and your age range that you stated that you wanted to date within. And so a lot of people said that they don't have, believe it or not, it's not as awkward because they already settled in, they already ate, they already had a couple drinks. Now when speed dating starts, in addition to that, we also have those conversation cards per rotation.
In case you're not creative enough to create your own topic, there's something to pop it out for you.
Exactly, but a lot of people said they don't even use it. So they like that it's there, but they find themselves organically just flowing into the conversation per person that they're rotating to. Like they've never felt the need to use it unless they're like, oh, let's see what this question card is. But a lot of times they're flowing into the conversations themselves.
That's fire. Because I remember the one time I did do speed dating, it was extremely awkward. So I'm looking forward to the experience with you.
Yes, I need you out there. You and your twin brother. What's his name?
Tosin. Tosin.
Yes. Toby and Tosin need y'all there. Okay.
Let's do it. So I guess my last question for you would be, where do you see Switch going? What cities, video features, or maybe a different direction the next 5 years? Yeah,
absolutely. I think our functionality, I know our functionality can expand into social and professional networking tech. And so, and then once we release that one-on-one roulette feature where it is that kind of love is blind experience, we can definitely, because a lot of people get on dating apps just to meet friends too. And that kind of gets awkward because it's like, no, I'm looking for my person.
For a friend.
Like swipe, like, you know what I mean? Like, so we're definitely going to have like, and the great thing is we can compete with like the Bumbles. Bumble has Bumble friends, but you're swiping on people. So it's kind of awkward. Whereas like, oh, I'm in Atlanta. Let me see you pop into a conversation. Like, hey girl, go to Rock City tonight. Yeah. So we're going to do definitely like a social side, like a friendship side. And then like, we're going to figure out how we can do a professional side where maybe you can network professionally, but also do interviews, kind of democratize that way that you get into an interview with someone that's hiring you. But for the most part, I think, what else? Yeah, just release that new feature, expand it to, we want to be an enterprising brand with our functionality. We are patent pending. So hopefully we'll get that very, very soon. We followed it 3 years ago. So I think just be an enterprising brand, take over the market. And we are available everywhere, by the way. So anywhere in the United States, you can. If you're in California, Texas, it doesn't matter. You can download. And we're actually about to kind of remove the location. So you just see everyone that's on the app while we're trying to grow the community. So once it does fill up, we can put that distance setting back there. But you could have it set it as such as like, oh, everyone's in the United States. I want them popping up on my feed.
Got you.
So yeah.
Nah, thank you so much for sitting on the Business
thank you.
Exchange, telling us about Switch. Please let everybody know where we can follow you and how we can download Switch.
Yeah, so go to your app stores, Google Play Store or iOS App Store. Just type in Switch Dating App, will pop up. Then as far as our page, My Switch App, so My Switch App all together. And then also our website is myswitchapp.com. And that's pretty much it. I don't know, follow me, you can follow me. I don't know. Might have to put that thing on private. But yeah, Kiki, Kiki_Karew, Karew. That's my personal. And yeah, no, I appreciate you for having me on.
I appreciate it. That was Kiki on the Business Exchange. It's your host, Toby, and we rolling out. Hello.
I don't know. Are we